Good afternoon, everybody. Happy hump day to you. March 19th, 2025. I have all of your content for your rush hour ride home. And this is my last episode from my mobile studio setup. You can probably see the neon lights behind me. I'm in West Hollywood. It's like the Times Square. It's like if Times Square had sex with a palm tree. That's what this is right here. It's lovely, but it's aggressive. My voice you can tell from my voice, we are toast from all the podcasts we're doing. I'll be on Zach Peter later. I did Juicy Scoop, Donna Bowling. All these great opportunities are happening. I interviewed Taylor Lorenz. You'll get that in the morning. In this episode, though, we will talk about the bronze medal winner from the Olympics, Jordan, and she'll explain how she's held on to to the medal, even though they tried to take it away from her. Love that story. Big theories happening in the Ryan Reynolds world, which we're going to dive into early on in this episode, so don't skip too far ahead. And that will discuss the money trail between Ryan Reynolds' parent company, what's happening on April Fool's Day, and why we may be very interested. Also, a clip of the Baldwins, yikes, going viral, making people feel bad for Alec Baldwin. Boy, that's a tough one. Also, some thoughts on Ukraine, the ceasefire deal going up in smoke, and global tariffs have been rumored, and it looks like it's us versus everybody. How that's going to work out, we will find out. And a Republican congressperson held a town hall even against the recommendation from political leaders, and it did not go well. I'll share all these stories and more. It's happening right now on The Rush. If you're new to my channel, you might not realize this, but I love the Olympics, so much so that I'm hoping my channel becomes big enough that I'm able to go to the LA Olympics in several years and do interviews there, like Alex Cooper did from Call Her Daddy. That's one of my goals. So if you guys know any Olympians, I'd love to start interviewing them. I don't care if they were, the seventh guy down the list on the rowing competition. I want to interview Olympians and work my way up the ladder. Get me in touch with Shawn Johnson. There's a bobsledder who lives in my town who's now a chiropractor who I'm going to interview. So anyway, I love the Olympic mindset and everything about it. With that said, do you know this story? I covered it, but if you're new, Jordan Chiles won the bronze medal. Then they said something about how there was like some technical issue. She responded in due time correctly within like the minute that they had to respond, fixed the issue, and then they ended up saying she no longer won and they gave it to someone else, even though it was on a technicality. So she had the bronze and then they took it away. They took it away in a completely unfair way. They could have overridden the claim and they could have reviewed the tape. There was a million things they could have done. She won it fair and square. And now they're saying she's not a bronze medal winner. And of course it crushed her because it's like kind of a big deal. Here's what she had to say.
It's still a bronze in my head. It's still a bronze in my heart. I still have the medal if anybody is asking. I still have it. And
by the way, if you ever see Dog the Bounty Hunter, run in the other direction because he's coming for that medal.
I can't really continue on my life with having something so small but so big in the world carry in my heart for the rest of my life. I can't let that happen. So now I'm enjoying life. I'm at UCLA. I'm doing everything that I can. I get to, enjoy the support now. It's still the bronze in my...
All right. Well, I'm only here for a few more hours, but Jordan, if you're around, let's do an interview. Maybe next time. That's insane. And you might say, well, what's the big deal? Whatever. It's like, yeah, but to her, this is her world and she won it and she deserves it. And I don't know, whoever's the president of the IOC, kind of like get rid of this PR nightmare and just issue 2 different bronze medals. If she won this and the other person won it on technicality, figure it out. I'm like the dad. Knock it off. IOC, knock it off. Issue 2 bronze medals. Cut the deal. Who cares? All right. Well, here is this video is going viral. This is Hilaria Baldwin. She's been bizarrely viral in the past for like a fake Spanish accent and all this weird stuff. Well, she's got this new she has a new show, The Baldwins, with Alec Baldwin. Of course, he's dealt with the tragedy of pulling the trigger on a live bullet that killed the cinematographer, Helena Hutchins. He was not, I think he was charged, but he was never convicted of any crimes. It was a real tragic issue. So he's dealt with enough, but now he's dealing with his wife. And this is a pretty crazy 35 seconds. Watch this.
The Hilaria show.
No. I think we're going to see, we're going to see how it feels to have it be out there.
So he says it's the Hilaria show, and she ain't having it.
Be great.
This
You're
season,
a winner.
Oh my God, when I'm talking, you're not talking.
Sorry.
No, when I'm talking, you're not talking. This is why, yes, we'll have to like just cut him out of the show. No.
Yikes. What happened in the car ride before this event? You know, we've all been there, right? Where you're like, you're friends with another couple and things are really weird. And you're like, what did I miss? Did I miss something? And it's like, oh yeah, there's more happening there.
I mean, I think this is a really raw show, and it's very real, and we took a lot of chances. And, you know, I think that we'll see where it leads us. We'll see what it feels like to have be out there, and then we'll see, you know, if people like it.
No one's listening to the last 15 seconds. We're watching Alec Baldwin behind. So if you're listening to the audio only version, Alec Baldwin just walks away. Okay, you know what? Maybe this does sell the show. Maybe the show is actually interesting if that 35 seconds was yikes.
Is it
all right? So here's an interesting thing I wanted to share with you guys. I absolutely love cinematography, and this is the new Netflix show Adolescence, talking about how they filmed every episode in one shot. And there's these moments with these 12-year-old actors where in one moment he jumps through the window at the school and the camera follows him, and people are like, how does this work? And I kind of have a little bit of a behind the scenes look at how it works because I worked as a stand-in on the Best Picture winning movie Birdman. I also had a small role in that movie. Very small, but I got to stand in for Ed Norton and be a part of the process where the cinematographer Chivo won. He won an Oscar for best cinematography. He also won an Oscar for Gravity and The Revenant. You know, geniuses, right? And to shoot, I don't even shoot my podcast in one take, right? So to shoot a full episode in one take is absolutely insane, and it's kind of like really interesting if you know that they have these young actors that have never acted before. Let's play this clip from Radio X on TikTok, talking about being blown away by the sort of play-like way that this is being filmed.
Is it actually one shot?
Yeah, honest to God.
Really?
All one shot.
Why would you do that?
Because
what if you're 53 minutes in and someone goes, John, Bob, oh, God damn it, you've got to...
Well, that's the risk that you take, isn't it? So we have myself and Jack really cut the script to shreds, you know what I mean? We get it to a place where it's really tight, isn't it? It becomes really watertight, like a play.
Yeah.
Most of the crew are in there and helping, you know, us understand where we're going to be, what we're doing and why we're doing it. So you do 2 takes a day because everything has to be reset. And especially with respect to that first episode. What it does is it marries both that live kind of natural fiery nature and the excitement of stage with it being live, but you also have that beautiful kind of technical element of film and television acting, which is naturalism.
Is it
so you never see this. You never see this, folks. And if you've never edited something or watched, there's cuts nonstop. So if you watch a film, sometimes a film will have like 1 4-minute scene, you know, like some war film or something where it's a steady shot and it doesn't cut or whatever. But a lot of times there's digital stitching. There'll be someone who like walks by the front of frame, and during that front of the frame, they'll digitally stitch it into the next scene. So a lot of times a scene that might be 2 or 3 pages long might take 2 or 3 hours to shoot. You rehearse it. You shoot a wide shot, medium shot, close-up shot, you know, different points of views, cutaways, B-roll, all that stuff, so that in the editing room you can have more liberty to sculpt the tone in post-production. And again, this makes it interesting when we'll talk about Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively and It Ends With Us, because the edit is so important, because you have hundreds of hours of content, and then you can literally change the length if it takes to respond to something. That's why like editing is so important when it comes to like setting up a dramatic shot and having those right tones and moments. When I worked on Birdman, every morning would be rehearsals. We would rehearse till lunch. So you'd rehearse for 6 hours, you would take lunch, and then you would shoot it maybe 1, 2, 3 times. And on Birdman, they were about 15 to 20 page long scenes. So that wasn't actually all in one take, even though they made it look like it. So for this show to be all in one take is absolutely wild. I cannot wait to watch it from that respect. I'm just here to, they're not paying me to say that. I like it. I like to see some innovation in a world of all of the like shows like Tracker and just random BS CBS shows, which might be nice, but they are so formulaic. In that world, I love to see Netflix promoting a show that took a risk and did things a little differently, especially with a young cast, right? Because in film and TV, they always say, don't work with animals, don't work with water and don't work with kids. It's tough. And when you work with kids, there's Screen Actors Guild rules. They can only work so much. They need a set teacher there and whatnot. So I'm sure this was a hell of a journey, but good on them. And I think it's out now on Netflix, so I'll be checking it out. All right. And we're going to get to the Ryan Reynolds stuff next. We're going to dive right into it. We'll hear what our two lawyer friends had to say about Justin Baldoni's abs. And then we've got a conspiracy theory right here I'm going to read for you that follows the money. This coming next. Well, Ryan Reynolds released his motion to dismiss yesterday, and of course he called Justin Baldoni a predator and said, "Hey, it's not defamation if I believe it." Which it's like, okay, sure, I guess. So we can all call Ryan Reynolds a predator now if we believe it. By the way, what a buzzkill! You know, my favorite movie was Van Wilder growing up. I loved that movie about a college kid who spent 7 years in college. Wasn't that a good one? I can't look at it the same way. So here are our two favorite lawyer friends here and talking about Justin Baldoni's abs. I get it. Have you seen the movie? Have a listen.
I was watching Justin Baldoni on It Ends With Us the other day. I mean, good looking. Have you seen his abs?
I have not. No.
Wow. I mean, and he's handsome, good looking. I mean, I would be intimidated if he was kissing my wife. So
yeah. I mean, look, I've been in yoga classes before where the yoga teacher's like a fit man. I'm like, honey, don't look at his body. You'll look at me as like I'm a bowl of butter after looking at that guy. No, but in all seriousness, this is such a great example of like as you age, like, you know, I can't speak for women, but as men, you age, right? You know, you lose some hair, you know, your body starts to put some extra padding on it on the sides, and you're like, I never had fat on my lower back. Where did that come from? You know, what's that all about? You know, you get all these, and then you see someone like Justin Baldoni, and you're like, golly, where does he put the pizza? You know what I mean? Either way, Ryan Reynolds is ripped too. I mean, they're ripped people. But hey, you'd never trust a guy with abs. I'll tell you that much. They're doing. I mean, celebrities, it's different. But okay, this was sent to me, and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read it all for you guys. So just sit back, buckle up. It's just an interesting theory, and I wanted to share it in its entirety with you because I wanted to see if there's any legs to it. So I wanted to, you know, I know we have a big audience, so maybe there's people that want to research this further because I can't. I'm not. You guys are better, more bandwidth. You are like my Chat GPT. Right. So if you're listening on the audio, I'm just going to read this email I got this morning. MNTN is the parent company of Maximum Efforts, Ryan's production company, but recently sold their shares back to an affiliate of an original owner of Max Efforts. I suspect they did it so they can maintain a clean presence, aka they don't want the scandal of Ryan involved. This deal will close on April 1st. MNTN, Mountain, is going public this year, so they're working with Morgan Stanley on their IPO, as well as finding more banks to back them up. MNTN is a well-connected advertising platform that is also skilled with online networking and tactics like SEO. One of the chief officers of MNTN is Ryan Reynolds. My suspicions and speculations. Again, this is sent to me. This is someone's opinion. The IPO of MNTN may become one of Ryan's biggest moneymakers in investments. Yeah, I mean, maybe he'll be like a fully fledged billionaire after this. He is, because he's only like a $1 billionaire. He's like if you could be the poorest billionaire, it would be Ryan Reynolds. If there's a club of billionaires, he's like, oh, how did you make your million? Or how did you make your billion? Yeah, anyway, he is protecting it at all costs, and nothing he's doing now has anything to do with protecting Blake, but all about protecting his IPO, which is initial public offering, right? This is why initial public offering, whatever. This is why he readily made jokes about Blake. At Hugh Jackman's tribute, he claimed Hugh was the best human he knows despite having 4 kids, but he didn't include his wife in that jest. And again, I don't know. I think that's just jokes, but okay. Ryan has been desperately trying to create a semblance of normalcy during the lawsuit so that Mountain's IPO will still go through and maintain as well as gain more investors as they have been working on. This lawsuit and negative PR is the biggest threat to his deal. This is why he's never stopped being seen in public at events and tributes until recently. He needs the positive publicity documented, whether it's real or not. Ari Emanuel, billionaire agent, is possibly one of the investors of Mountain going public. In fact, Ryan may have enlisted a lot of his celebrity friends to invest before the company goes public. There could be texts that reveal all his business dealings. Mountain has skills and connections that are well capable of the SEO tactics going on with you and other content creators. You being me. Let me read that again. Mountain has skills and connections that are well capable of the SEO tactics going on with you and other content creators. They may be the real masterminds, while the CIA pro recently hired is either just one of the PR planners, but mostly a complete decoy deflection to get everyone off of talking about Mountain, both the IPO deal and their connection to online manipulation skills. Ryan is the one that most likely has morality clauses built into every business deal he's made because his companies know his strategy of weaving his brand into them to ensure he maintains control and makes demands. As predicted, Ryan is now attempting to remove himself from Justin's lawsuit so his investment contracts remain intact. The longer he can drag this lawsuit and damage Justin, the longer he can keep his deals alive. It's too bad that he isn't suffering as much as Justin. I think his Mountain deal should be put out there because people think his max effort company got dropped, but he's the one who orchestrated this to keep his bigger investment Mountain alive. I feel so dumb. I'm trying to follow along with this, and I think I do. Basically, he needs to keep his stuff inflated to the point where when the IPO happens, it launches well. It's a big launch. So yeah, if Ari Emanuel is involved, they could have hundreds of millions of dollars at risk here. And it's a big deal. First of all, I credit Ryan Reynolds. He is like a marketing genius. When you take away all of this nonsense, he's done a lot with Mint Mobile and leveraged his brand and all of that. But as they always say, they always go, oh, there's no ethical billionaires. And it's like, all right, well, you could find some examples where like people aren't, savagely, cutting into resources and, making people poor in the process. Like Jeff Bezos, that is not an ethical billionaire. The Walton family, not ethical billionaires. I mean, at this point, there's a lot of poor people that have to work for these companies, peeing in water bottles and passing out stickers. They don't even pass out the sticker anymore at Walmart. They got rid of the sticker guy, right? Either way, my point, they'd rather lock up formula so poor moms can't get formula, and they're billionaires. So not many ethical billionaires, right? But either way, this is like things and deals and moves have to happen to acquire that amount of money. It doesn't come out of thin air, right? It comes from somewhere else. You're extracting. If money is gold, you are mining it out of the mountain. That's what's happening, right? So either way, this is interesting. And I would love if anyone has any more information or ways to look at money trails here, get back to me, right? And again, I'm not trying to be some tinfoil hat guy, but how odd is it that Ryan Reynolds has a big, massive deal coming up? Not many people are talking about it. And they do say that these motions to dismiss are all delay tactics to avoid discovery. So how long are they just trying to delay all this so that this deal goes through? And then does he get another $1 billion? And then he's willing to privately pay out Justin Baldoni? I've got no idea. I have no idea. It's interesting as hell. We'll be back with some thoughts on global tariffs and the uprising of Americans, specifically in this case, Nebraskans, as they want the rich taxed. I got to love this story. Comes next. All right, there's a lot here. Again, Ukraine, tariffs, uprising at town halls. Let's just crack through it. This is Ford, Ontario Premier Doug Ford, saying that he found out the U.S. is going to be introducing a global tariff. Like, what the hell does that mean? This is wild. Have a listen.
What the U.S. wants. And if I didn't do what I did, that meeting would have never happened. We'd be going back and forth, tit for tat. But there's a big difference when you're looking at someone, their whole trade team across the table, looking at them in the eyes. You have a much better conversation than over the phone that we've had a few times so far. And I can tell you what they want. They're going to put a global tariff on the whole world on August the 2nd.
He means April 2nd.
What we're working at is making sure that we're first in line for exemptions. And
so he goes in and talks about this global tariff. He later clarifies it's April 2nd, right? Which is crazy. We got Ryan Reynolds and we got global tariffs. I mean, come on. Ryan Reynolds and global tariffs. Oh, my. Ryan Reynolds, we should put a tariff on Ryan Reynolds. How about that? Mint Mobile, 50% tariff. No, I'm kidding. Either way, people are looking at Ontario Premier Doug Ford and saying he looks like he saw a ghost. Like he was this strong guy, like we're going to cut off electricity. And then now he's all sullen. And again, maybe he's just on a downer. Who knows? knows? But either way, it's crazy. Now we have Steve Bannon being interviewed on News Nation, and he says he has a plan for Trump to run for a third term. Again, they're not making this stuff up, folks. When everyone warned people about Project 2025, it is happening to a T. Now he's saying they have a constitutional way where they think he's going to get a third term. I mean, he's not going to win, and he probably won't be alive, actuarially speaking. But here's what he has to say.
Second on the list after the VP as people getting the nod at CPAC to be president. A lot of people were surprised by this. My first question, you have anything to do with putting your name in that list because you have presidential ambitions?
No. And President Trump, I'm a firm believer that President Trump will run and win again in 2028. So I've already endorsed President Trump. A man like this comes along once every century if we're lucky. We've got him now. He's on fire, and I'm a huge supporter. Want to see him again in 2028.
Boy, should we get Steve Bannon some knee pads? Because he is blowing the hell out of Trump here. So he then says that he has this plan, that to make it happen. Like there's some rule in the Constitution. So either way, look, he can go F himself. He really can. Because even if you found some loophole, it's like it's standard, agreed upon. You serve 2 terms. That's what democracies are all about. You don't hold on to power. But again, I don't think we should seriously worry about that right now. What needs to happen is people need to come up with better policies and plans so that he can be voted out democratically. Tempers flare at town hall hosted by Nebraska Congressman Mike Flood. They told people don't have a town hall because there's going to be viral moments and it's going to make you look bad. And why is that? Well, because people are unhappy, and it's not like government ops and Democrats. It's people, constituents are unhappy with the way these tariffs and all the other things are playing out. Cuts to programs that help farmers. And by the way, I have to remind folks, people always talk about these like poor people in cities that are welfare queens. And I don't mean this in any way to shame, but the biggest sort of recipient of social welfare are agriculture. They receive the most subsidies, and they're saying, "Well, we don't mind the tariffs, but not if they affect us." And it's like that's the problem. It's like as a country, we need to all come together and realize a poor person on a farm is the same as a poor person in a city. If they need help to get on their feet, we should be here to help.
Another big story: a raucous encounter for one Nebraska politician. Congressman Mike Flood ignoring the advice of Republican leaders, holding a public event tonight for constituents amid growing wariness of actions that have been taken by the Trump administration.
About 400 people packed into the Columbus High School auditorium to raise concerns about cuts to federal programs, the war in Ukraine, and trade policy among the issues.
And by the way, do these look like government operatives that they shipped in from New York City? No, these are your moms. These are your aunts and uncles. These are people that are concerned and don't feel like their voices are heard. So they do this town hall. He and people start chanting, tax the rich, tax the rich. And then the congressman responds and he says something like, oh, you really think we should be taxing the rich? And everyone's like, yeah. And he's like, oh, he's like, do you really think that's going to help get rid of the deficit? And they're all like, yeah, exactly. Because Trump's new plan is to provide relief for the rich, right? If you make $1 million, you'll actually get $36,000 extra dollars. And folks are like, do you think that's going to go to, do you think it's going to trickle down to the waiter? Do you really think that they're going to start tipping more? Well, now that we got $36,000, let's leave a 300% tip to the waiter. No, it doesn't trickle down. It's going to go into the stock market. They're going to get richer. It's siphoning all of the wealth upwards. The people that are going to be paying for it are these constituents, as I repeat this over and over because people need to understand. If you make under $400,000 a year, your on average taxes will be going up $1,500 more than you spend now. So you thought times were tough already, find an extra $1,500 and light it on fire. So either way, that happens and it's wild. And now's the time, a few months into the presidency, where people are starting to say like, all right, Donald, show us your math. What's going on? You said you were going to end the Ukraine war in 24 hours. So you get on the phone with Putin. You have a 2-hour phone call, and then he violates the ceasefire immediately right after.
Zelensky's lashing out at Russia after it launched overnight missile and drone attacks on Ukraine. Zelensky says the attacks show Moscow's claimed support for a ceasefire in Ukraine is not real. The attacks come just hours after President Trump's call with Russian President Vladimir Putin about the war.
After more than 2.5 hours of conversation, Donald Trump did not convince Vladimir Putin to sign up to the U.S. ceasefire proposal, but the Russian leader did pledge to stop hitting Ukrainian energy infrastructure. Now that is a significant step because Russian attacks on energy here in Ukraine have been devastating these last 3 years of war. They've caused rolling blackouts, power outages and freezing conditions for millions. But it's also a strategic move from Vladimir Putin because Ukrainian attacks on Russian infrastructure have also been pretty devastating.
Yeah, so it's like Ukraine, people say, oh, they're going to lose this war. They fought it for 3 years. They fought for their homeland. How are we not all coming together and saying enough is enough? Why would Putin stop invading? Why? He's already put 100,000 of his own soldiers through a meat grinder. Why would he stop invading now? It's just not going to happen. So what you're seeing is all of these campaign promises, kind of like how years ago Trump said there's a concept of a plan, or healthcare plan is right around the corner. We get nothing. Look at me right in the eyes, folks. Look at me right in the eyes. Your parents are aging. You need healthcare. Medicare is about to be cut. It's not just poor people. It is veterans. It is children, and it is like 1 out of every 3 people in nursing homes. They are all about to lose their Medicare. They are not going to have money. They're going to be taxed at a higher level. The rich are getting richer. It's okay. We don't have to be one of those told you so moments. See what's happening. Start talking to your friends and family. It's every man for himself at this point. I can't help you. But what we can do is have open and honest conversation about what's happening. So here's a story that's just interesting because it's more about the culture of where we come from. And if you erase history, it repeats itself. Jackie Robinson's military history removed from the Department of Defense website amid DEI purge. Have a listen to this.
Reports are inaccurate that Jackie Robinson's profile has been removed from DOD websites. Please tell me that this is not true.
Sadly, it is, Joe. A page dedicated to Hall of Famer Jackie Robinson's military history has been removed.
So, yeah, you go to the website page and it says, like, no page found, right? And this is the issue, how lazy it is. It's like when Florida was banning books, anything with gay theory. There was like a person whose last name was gay and they had their book banned. So they're just searching things in databases and banning it. They banned her, like, they talked about this, like, trans mice issue, like trans mice. And it was really like transgenic mice. And it had nothing to do with trans people. It just the word trans. Like, are they going to ban transmissions in cars? Is that coming next? Well, no more cars can't have transmissions. We can't. If you have a car, no transmissions and no bathrooms. It's like, what are you even talking about? What are they doing? How is this lowering prices at the supermarket, right? So here's the interesting thing I'm going to share with you. This is a clip from the El Salvadorian prison, this propaganda piece that the government's put together, putting in jail all of these dangerous Venezuelan gang members. And it's like, look, if there's dangerous gang members in our country, they should receive due process because we should make sure they are who we say they are. What's happening now is because they didn't provide any proof that these people committed crimes, there are family members of these quote unquote Venezuelan gang members saying, no, my son had an asylum hearing. He was about to get citizenship. He's done nothing wrong. He's got a clean record. And again, there might be some dangerous people within this group of like 300, but imagine if this is your dad. Imagine if he, I don't know, was in the wrong place at the wrong time and he got rounded up with some other people, sent to a prison that's known for slave war, inhumane conditions and things like that in another country with no due process and no rights. How would you feel? Let's watch.
Just hours earlier, a federal judge ordered they be returned to the United States, rather than held in a notorious El Salvadoran prison with a track record of human rights abuses. Their deportations came less than 24 hours after Donald Trump became the first president since World War II to invoke the Alien Enemies Act, a centuries-old law that allows the rapid deportation of non-citizens with little to no due process.
I can tell you this, these were bad people. That was a bad group of, as I say, hombres.
Bad hombres, folks. There's the evidence. They're just bad hombres.
According to ICE, and the families of some of the men have told ABC News that their loved ones, who they fear have been deported to El Salvador, have never been associated with the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua or any other criminal organization.
She says nothing, fine, perfect. They had nothing going on.
Sources told ABC News that the Trump administration made a calculated decision to ignore a judge's directive to turn around 2 flights containing alleged members of Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. Their decision to ignore the ruling followed a chaotic 24 hours when the Trump administration raced to deport them before a federal judge could stop them. Here's what we know so far.
And again, this is just a cultural war issue because it's not like this isn't some, you might say, well, if there's bad gang members in our country, we want to get rid of them. Sure. But at what cost? It's called due process. You wouldn't want to get arrested and not have a chance to defend yourself. And these are humans. And they, regardless of if you're an American citizen or not, you should at least have to show proof if you're going to put someone and strip someone of their basic human rights. And this is something I stand by. And this is going to be a real hard line we take here, that we will not be on the wrong side of history with this. So we'll share the fun news stories. We'll talk about astronauts and wombats and baby eagles, but we're going to come hard. That sounded weird. We're going to come hard and really, really try to get you guys international news, news that's telling you how it is, and not try to scare you, but educate you. Maybe you have a relative that is caught up in all this and was big pro-MAGA and didn't realize that this would happen to them. There's people whose wives are deported and they're like, I thought it was going to happen to someone else. Maybe people didn't understand the economic issues, that your parents are retiring and their savings have been wiped out, or their stock markets. Maybe they don't know. Send them my podcast. Say, hey, check out this baby wombat story. And then maybe they'll stick around to find out a little bit more information that they're not getting from their newsfeed. A lot of the news has been spineless. They've been unwilling to have real conversations about the First Amendment rights issues in schools, banning these conversations about war, the fact that journalists can't see a flight log of who's on these planes of people getting deported so that they can properly investigate. They want to flood the zone with all this information, and we're just going to systematically, try to check it out and do the right thing. And I know, most people want to be on the right side of this, so it's no longer a campaign issue where, oh, you're just a hater. Look, the guy's going to be in office for the next 3.5+ years, right? It's not about that. It's about making sure that the judicial system and democracy is held up, and the executive branch, Donald Trump and anyone involved, follows the law, and we hold him accountable. And if we can't touch him at the midterms and at the special elections, you vote and you make sure you have people that speak with a spine, that are defending basic American rights. That's what it's all about. All right. That's it for me. I got a plane to catch. And I will, in the morning, you will see my episode with Taylor Lorenz. It's a very interesting one. And then after that, we'll have more content. I'll be back in my Tennessee location. Tomorrow, I've got a show at Zany's Thursday night. And if you want to come laugh, I'll be there. We'll see you then. I'm Dave Neal. This is The Rush.